Lesson: Mechanisms for obtaining and managing user consent. Obtaining and managing user consent is a cornerstone of data privacy and protection. Consent is often the legal basis for processing personal data, as stipulated by various data protection regulations, including the General Data Protection Regulation in Europe and the California Consumer Privacy Act in the United States. The importance of consent lies in its role as a mechanism for empowering individuals, providing them with control over their personal information. This lesson delves into the mechanisms for obtaining and managing user consent, offering actionable insights, practical tools, and frameworks tailored for professionals tasked with ensuring compliance and enhancing data privacy practices within their organizations. The GDPR defines consent as a freely given, specific, informed, and unambiguous indication of the data subject's agreement to the processing of their personal data. This definition underscores several crucial components that organizations must address to obtain valid consent. First, consent must be freely given, implying that users should have a genuine choice without any form of coercion. For example, bundling consent with the acceptance of terms and conditions is not considered freely given under GDPR. Instead, organizations can employ granular consent mechanisms where users have the option to consent to different types of data processing separately. This approach not only enhances user autonomy, but also aligns with the principle of data minimization, reducing the risk of processing unnecessary personal data. Informed consent demands transparency, requiring organizations to provide clear and accessible information about the data processing activities. This includes the purpose of data collection, the type of data collected, and any third parties involved in data processing. One practical tool that organizations can use to achieve this is a privacy notice or policy. However, traditional privacy notices are often criticized for being lengthy and difficult to understand. To overcome this challenge, organizations can leverage layered privacy notices, which present information in a concise, user-friendly manner, allowing users to drill down into more detailed sections if they wish. This method not only facilitates informed consent, but also enhances user trust by demonstrating a commitment to transparency. The concept of unambiguous consent requires that the user provides a clear affirmative action, signifying agreement to the data processing. This moves away from implied consent practices, such as pre-ticked boxes, which are no longer permissible under GDPR. Practical tools for obtaining unambiguous consent include opt-in methods, such as unticked checkboxes that users must actively select. Additionally, organizations should document and store records of consent, as this serves as evidence of compliance in the event of an audit or investigation. Consent management platforms are effective tools for managing consent records, providing functionalities for tracking, updating, and withdrawing consent. These platforms can also integrate with existing IT systems, ensuring seamless data flow and compliance management. Managing user consent extends beyond initial collection. It involves ongoing obligations to maintain its validity. Consent must be as easy to withdraw as it is to give, necessitating straightforward processes for users to change their consent preferences. Organizations can implement self-service portals where users can update their consent settings at any time. This practice not only complies with legal requirements, but also enhances user experience by empowering individuals to manage their privacy preferences dynamically. A critical aspect of managing consent is ensuring the security and protection of users' personal data. Organizations must adopt appropriate technical and organizational measures to safeguard data against unauthorized access or breaches. Encryption and anonymization are examples of technical measures that can enhance data security. Additionally, conducting regular audits and risk assessments can identify potential vulnerabilities in data processing activities, enabling organizations to implement corrective actions proactively. The effectiveness of consent mechanisms can be illustrated through various case studies. For instance, a study conducted by the Information Commissioner's Office in the UK found that organizations leveraging clear, concise, and visually engaging consent requests experienced higher user engagement and consent rates. This highlights the importance of user-centric design in consent mechanisms. Furthermore, a case study of a multinational corporation that implemented a comprehensive consent management strategy reported a 25% increase in user trust and satisfaction, demonstrating the positive impact of robust consent practices on organizational reputation and customer relationships. Despite the availability of practical tools and frameworks, organizations often encounter real-world challenges in obtaining and managing user consent. One common challenge is balancing compliance with user experience. Overly complex consent processes can deter users and negatively impact engagement. To address this, organizations can adopt a user-centered approach involving usability testing and feedback loops to refine consent mechanisms continuously. Another challenge is maintaining compliance across multiple jurisdictions, each with its own data protection laws. Organizations operating globally must navigate varying legal requirements, which can be resource-intensive. A practical solution is to adopt a harmonized approach, aligning consent practices with the strictest applicable standards, such as GDPR. This not only ensures compliance, but also simplifies consent management processes across different regions. Technological advancements, such as artificial intelligence and machine learning, offer innovative solutions for consent management. For instance, AI-powered algorithms can analyze user behavior and preferences to tailor consent requests, enhancing user engagement and consent rates. However, the use of AI in consent management raises ethical considerations, particularly in ensuring transparency and avoiding bias. Organizations must carefully balance innovation with ethical practices, adhering to principles of fairness and accountability. In conclusion, obtaining and managing user consent is a multifaceted process that requires a comprehensive understanding of legal requirements, practical tools, and user-centric strategies. By leveraging granular consent mechanisms, transparent privacy notices, and consent management platforms, organizations can enhance their compliance and build trust with users. Ongoing management of consent, including mechanisms for easy withdrawal and data security measures, is essential for maintaining the validity and effectiveness of consent. While challenges exist, a proactive and innovative approach can transform consent management into a competitive advantage, fostering trust and loyalty among users. Ultimately, robust consent practices are integral to upholding data privacy and protection, ensuring that organizations not only comply with legal obligations, but also respect the rights and preferences of individuals.